Hello everyone, this is Abhijati Sen. Welcome back to the Ascend the Pathway of Success. Here we go with the new chapters, life processes that belongs from the biology portion, and this is chapter number 6 from NCERT book. Okay, without any delay, let's today's session. Life processes. What are life processes? All the life processes which are necessary to maintain life in an organism are called life processes. Inside our body, there are some kind of activities continuously taking place which are helping us to maintain our life. Okay, there are four steps in getting involved in this process. Nutrition, that is the first step, that is intake of food where the actual process starts. Transportation of nutrients and waste. From this, the food or the nutrients get transported from one place to the another portion of our body. Respiration, obtaining energy. Okay, why we consume food? There should be a particular reason why we consume food, that is obtaining energy. Through the consumed food, we obtain energy. Excretion, removal of waste. We all know that is after some kind of activities, there are some leftover particles or uh, what to say, leftover kinds of something which is neither useful nor harmful. Okay, but some of the waste are also harmful for our body. The process by which those wastes are removed from our body, that process is called excretion. Nutrition. Nutrition are of two types: autotrophic, heterotrophic. Autotrophic, cell food synthesization. For the process of photosynthesis, plants are able to prepare food for themselves. Okay, what are the process? Why is it known as autotrophy? It involves the cell food synthesization. We all know that plants prepare their food by themselves. They don't take any help from others. Plants are green in color. What is that pigment name for which the plants are green in color? That is chlorophyll. Heterotrophic nutrition, they depend on other for their foods, just like we, the human beings, depend on others. We depend on any other living beings such as chicken, meat, and all. We depend on trees. We depend on other for our foods. Heterotrophic is also divided into three parts: saprophytic, parasitic, holozoic. Saprophytic, some examples are fungi, yeast. Parasitic, that is Cuscuta, Plasmodium. Holozoic, man, dog, and amoeba. I will request everyone to please note down these examples. This may come in your exam. Definitions. Okay. Saprophytic, they depend on decaying matter for their food. Uh, they depend on the dead and decaying matter. Okay, they depend on dead and decaying matter for their foods. When a living being, suppose a living being or a cow or a goat died, okay, their body pasture will be get decayed after by a long term process. Okay, those organisms, those saprophytic organisms will depend on those matter on their body to survive. For their survival, they will obtain food from themselves. Parasitic, they depend on other for their foods by not killing them. Parasitic are the organisms which does not depend, means what to say, yes, they depend on others, but for their dependence no living being has to be killed or be dead. They can also obtain their food by living or by staying in the living body. Holozoi, they intake food and remove it in the form of waste. It's very easy, you can understand. They intake food and remove it in the form of waste. Autotrophic nutrition, as I told, photosynthesis is a process by which plants make their own food. CO2 plus H2O equals to C6H12O6 plus O2. This is a reaction made for the photosynthesis. The process by which green plants synthesize nutrients from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll is called photosynthesis. We know that plants make their food in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so this is the only thing that which is mentioned over here, that is the process by which green plants. Why the plants are green in color? Because a pigment is present. What is the name of that pigment? Yes, you are right. The name of the pigment is chlorophyll. The process by which green plants synthesize nutrients from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight, and chlorophyll is called photosynthesis. Three steps involved. Okay. In our body also, as I told, there are four steps. Simultaneously, in plant body also, there are three steps involved. Absorption of light energy by chlorophyll, by which the pigment chlorophyll absorb the light energy, conversion of light energy to chemical energy, and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. Reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates, that is CO2 plus H, that is C6H12O6. This is the structure of the leaves. Okay, this one is, okay, let me change the color. This this one is the midrib. This portion is the lamina or leaf blade, that is the smoothie portion. And we all know what is the vein of a leaf, that is this one. And also in the left hand side, this one also you can see. Okay, if we cut the leaf from the middle, this portion, we can see that is phloem and xylem are present, that is vascular bundle. We can see this through the microscope. Our naked eye cannot see this obviously. This portion, if we zoom in the microscope, we can see many layers present in it. The first layer we will see is waxy cuticle. Okay, and the three box we can see, that is known as upper epidermis, chloroplast. This is the circular type of thing which is present. Those are known as chloroplast. The vacuum spaces, just like here, those are all air spaces. Guard cells, in the downward you can see guard cells, and the lowermost part of this known as lower epidermis. The upper one is upper epidermis, the lower one is lower epidermis. Human digestive system. Okay. Now we enters the digestive system of our own selves. Human digestive system. We all know that from mouth we intake the food, that is buccal cavity, that is also known as buccal cavity. Tongue, esophagus. Esophagus is the pipe-like structure which helps the food to reach from the mouth to the stomach. Okay, then we come to the diaphragm. In respiration we will learn how what is a diaphragm. This is gallbladder. In NCERT book you can see the those functions. Also we will see in the next slides. In this picture you just note down or just see what portions are the name of the portions. The small intestine, inside it's present. Large intestine, which is surrounding the small intestine. Appendix, anus, through by which the wastes get excreted. Bile duct, liver, and pancreas. And all these all these organs have its own functions, which play a role in the digestive system of our body. Digestion in humans: the process by which nutrients is simplified from carbohydrate, fats, proteins. Human bodies get energy. Okay, we intake the food in the form of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. But do we need to simplify those things? Yes, of course. We need to simplify those nutrients such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into more smaller particles so that our body gets, for our body, it's get easier to simplify those things. Carbohydrates turn into glucose, proteins turn into amino acids, fats turn into fatty acid or glycerol. Heterotrophic nutrition. Mouth. Okay, here it is given step by step. Mouth, mechanical breakdown of food. We all know such as chapati or potato, we take it in our mouth and we chew it. Why we chew it? For the mechanical breakdown of food, so that it gets into smaller particles, so that we can pass it through our esophagus to our stomach. The second one is inner lining, that is salivary gland. In our mouth only, the digestion process starts. Saliva is present, you all know, that is secreted from the salivary gland. Saliva, uh, Saliva secretes a fluid. What is the name of that fluid? Salivary amylase. That is known as salivary amylase, which turns carbohydrate into glucose. Here you can see it is given arrow, inner line, inner lining, salivary gland secretes a fluid saliva, that is salivary amylase. Then for that carbohydrates change into glucose. Then food reaches into the stomach by esophagus. Okay, after by it is not written esophagus, but we all know, as I have told, through the from the mouth the food reaches to our stomach by esophagus. Then the second one is stomach. What happens inside the stomach when our food reaches into it? It also has inner lining, the surface area of the stomach, the inner surface area, which has gastric glands, secretes some fluids. There are three fluids which are secreted from the gastric glands. First one is HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. It transfers food into acidic medium for action of pepsin. Okay, it transfers the food which reaches to the stomach, which turn those foods into acidic medium so that pepsin can work properly. The second one is pepsin. It is an enzyme which converts proteins into amino acid. It only acts on acidic acid or acidic food. Pepsin has just only one action or one activity to do, that is it turns proteins into amino acids. Okay, it only acts on acidic food. Here we goes with the reason why hydrochloric acid or the HCl transfers food into acidic medium. Okay, if it doesn't change, or if HCl is doesn't secreted from the gastric glands, the food wouldn't have changed or turned into the acidic medium. So as a result, the pepsin would have also don't act on the food or wouldn't have turned proteins into amino acid. So one thing we have to remember, that pepsin only works on acidic food or the acidic medium. The third one is mucus. It protects our stomach from hydrochloric acid. From the name only, we come to know that HCl or hydrochloric is an acid, so it is harmful for our stomach. So it's need to be protected. So mucus is the thing which protects our stomach from hydrochloric acid. Further steps of digestion: liver produces the two things, that is bile juice, and the second one is bile salt. The function of bile juice is makes the food alkaline so that trypsin works properly. As we have already seen in the previous slide, HCl turned the food into acidic medium so that trypsin works properly. In the same way also here in the liver, bile juice does the same thing or the same work, which turns the food into alkaline so that for the further steps trypsin works properly. The second one is bile salt. It breaks down fats into smaller particles. Okay, here at last the fats turn into smaller particles or breaks into smaller particles. In the mouth we have seen that carbohydrates turn into glucose. In the stomach we have seen that the the proteins turn into amino acid, and at last the third one, that is fats, breaks into smaller particles. Pancreas. Pancreas also produces trypsin and lipase. Okay, in the collective noun we call it pancreatic juice. Together we call the pancreatic juice, that is trypsin and lipase. Trypsin. It is used to convert leftover proteins into amino acid. After such activities also there are some food which needs to be turned into more amino acids. Maybe in that action the left means the food is left over, which is left to be turned into proteins into amino acid. So it does the work which turns the leftover food or the leftover proteins into amino acid. The second one is lipase. It is present to convert leftover fat into fatty acid and glycerol. In the same way, it is also present to convert the leftover fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, what are these? Villis. Villis are present in the lining of small intestine. We have seen that smaller intestine is very complicated. So in the inner lining of the small intestine, these finger-like structures that are known as villi are present. Villi are finger-like projections which are richly supplied with blood vessels. They are present in the inner lining of the small intestine and help in the absorption of nutrients by increasing the surface area for absorption. Okay, we have seen there is a process involved in the digestion process known as absorption, which absorbs the nutrients. Okay, the absorption process is done in the small intestine and also in the large intestine apart, but the main absorption process takes place inside the inner lining of the small intestine. This finger-like projections comes out and increase the surface area which absorbs the nutrients and transport it into the whole body through the various elements. Large intestine. Large intestine has also villi. As I told, in the large intestine also absorption take place. It has also villis. It absorbs the liquid portion and remove waste through anus. We know it is the second last step of the digestion process where the food has to pass through large intestine. The liquid portion it is absorbed by the large intestine, and the leftover material is passed through the anus or the excreted through anus. Small intestine is actually this is not something you have to learn, but this you have to understand why the small intestine is why those things is actually known as small intestine and large intestine, whereas the small intestine is larger in size and large intestine is smaller in size. We can see is smaller intestine is 6 meter and large intestine is 1.5 meter. So the question may arise inside you that why small intestine is larger than the large intestine. Okay, it is based on the thickness. It is named on the basis of thickness. So the smaller intestine is actually larger, smaller in the thickness. but the large intestine is has a greater thickness than the small intestine. On the basis of thickness, it is known as small intestine and basic and large intestine, not on the basis of its size. Okay, appendix. If someone eats raw material such as grasses, wheats, etc., it gets stored in it. If it gets larger, the pain will start. If it bursts, death can may also cause. Okay, in our childhood, by not understanding early, we consume such food also after means refusal from our parents. We consume such harmful foods such as raw materials such as grass, weeds, etc. It gets stored in it. Okay, the raw materials always get stored in the appendix, and if it gets larger, the pain will start. And we all know that if something is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it that means it is extending. And if it's what to say, if its resistivity comes at the end point, it will burst. And if in the same way, if the appendix bursts, death may also cause. So we have to be very careful about this one. Okay, we are not learning, we are not only learning from this, also we have to apply this on our real life. Okay, also we have to apply this in our real life so that our life gets better. Respiration. In simple word, we can say the process of breathing. A process in living organisms involving the production of energy, typically with the intake of oxygen and the release of the carbon dioxide from the oxidation of complex organic substances. This is the process by which we inhale the oxygen, that is the intake of oxygen, and exhale the carbon dioxide. We all know in the process of breathing, we release carbon dioxide. Okay, through this process, our body gets energy. That is, energy is produced inside our body. Energy is produced. This reaction takes place in mitochondria. The energy is needed to be stored. Okay, the energy is need to be stored, or else if we spend all the energy in one work only, how we will spend the other work? Other energy on the other works. Okay, currency of energy of our body. You will now say that currency of energy, currency only exists in the form of money, that is rupees in India and all. But no, of energy also currency exists, that is ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate, in the short form we call it ATP. 1 mole of ATP, that is the value of 1 mole of ATP is 30.5 kJ. The full form of kJ is kilojoule. 30.5 kilojoule. Cell respiration formula, in the right hand side you can see that is C6H12O6, that is the formula of glucose, plus 6O2, that is oxygen. We get carbon dioxide, 6CO2, plus 6H2O, water, and plus ATP, that is energy. Energy is released, our body gets energy. Three pathways of glucose breakdown. Glucose is the glucose breakdown causes in the three pathways inside our body. Okay, glucose is 6 carbon molecules. In cytoplasm, it transferred into pyruvate, that is 3 carbon molecules plus energy. It happens in three ways, as I previously told. In the absence of oxygen, that happens in yeast, that is present in bread. In the lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, that we also known as muscle cramp. During playing, sometimes muscle cramps occurs in our muscle. The pain starts. That is the energy or the glucose breakdown occurs in the absence of oxygen, and also in the presence of oxygen in mitochondria. In the absence of oxygen, it is we will see ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. It is two carbon molecule. It is two carbon molecule. In the lack of oxygen, that is oxygen is present in the less amount, that is lactic acid plus energy, that is three carbon molecule. In the presence of oxygen, carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. We all know in the presence of oxygen, energy is produced in the sufficient amount. But in the above two, absence of oxygen and lack of oxygen, we can see there is limited amount. That is two carbon molecule and three carbon molecule, which may not be sufficient. But in the presence of oxygen, the sufficient amount of energy is produced. Why plants produce oxygen in day and carbon dioxide at night? At the daytime, photosynthesis occurs at a huge amount comparing to respiration. So it produces oxygen more than carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis occurs more because it occurs with the presence of sunlight. Okay, we may have heard that plant releases oxygen in day and carbon dioxide at night. But during the daytime, not only plants produce oxygen, but also carbon dioxide. Okay, because photosynthesis as well as respiration taking place in the daytime. But comparing to carbon dioxide, oxygen is released in the more amount in the daytime. So the oxygen only gets highlighted other than the carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide is present in, what to say, is not sufficient, or not in greater amount, but the oxygen is greater amount in the daytime which is produced, and at night only respiration takes place. Only respiration, no photosynthesis, no sunlight. So as a result, no photosynthesis doesn't take place, so only respiration takes place. In the result, we get, or the plants produce, carbon dioxide at night. At the night only respiration takes place, so it produces carbon dioxide only. Transportation of blood. Heart, human heart. In this picture you can see, this picture is also present in our NCERT book. Okay, let's change the color. Okay. The first deoxygenated blood comes from the, that is, vena cava, enters through the vena cava, and the deoxygenated blood from the lower part of our body enters through the this vena cava. This is okay. First, I need to tell that our human heart has four chambers. This one is right atrium, this is left atrium, this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. Okay, so first the deoxygenated blood comes from the vena cavas, this from the upper part, this from the lower part. Then also from the pulmonary arteries, this one. Pulmonary arteries. Okay, pulmonary arteries means, what to say, doesn't allow the blood to enters the human heart, but allows the deoxygenated blood to pass away from the heart. Okay, to where it passes away? To the lungs. So here we can see, from here the blood comes into the right ventricle, and through this pipe it passes to the lungs. Again from the lungs it comes to the, okay, from lungs the deoxygenated bloods gets filtered and transform into oxygenated blood. So we can say that from the left atrium, that is pulmonary veins, this two, the oxygenated blood enters the human heart. From this it comes to the left ventricle and again passes away in the same way from the aorta to the other parts of the body, through which our body produces energy. Okay. Arteries and veins. What is the difference between arteries and veins? Carry oxygenated blood from heart to the body parts except pulmonary artery. We have seen that actually what arteries perform. What is the performance of the artery? Its work is to carry oxygenated blood from heart to the other parts of the body, except pulmonary arteries. As we have seen in the diagram, pulmonary artery brings the oxygenated blood from lungs to the heart. So it is not helping the blood to passes away from the heart, but it bringing the heart, but it bringing the blood to the heart from the lungs. Okay. Artery is also called distributing vessel as it distributes the oxygenated blood into the other parts of the body. It is thick and elastic and deep-seated. What is the meaning of deep-seated? We can't see arteries closer to the skin. It is present in the deep, okay, in the deep of our body. Veins carry oxygenated blood from body parts to the heart except pulmonary vein. Okay, there is a mistake in this one. That is, here it will be carried deoxygenated blood. I'm really sorry. This will not be oxygenated blood, but deoxygenated blood. Veins carry deoxygenated blood from body parts to heart except pulmonary vein. In the same way as pulmonary artery performs the opposite action of which normal arteries does. In the same way, pulmonary vein also perform the opposite action which veins perform. Veins perform veins helps in the carrying of deoxygenated blood from the body parts, but pulmonary vein uh, transports the means pulmonary veins transport the blood from heart to the body, from heart to the lungs, from heart to the lungs. The function of vein is actually to carry deoxygenated blood from body parts to the heart, but pulmonary veins transports the blood from heart to the veins, uh, to the lungs. It is also called collecting vessel. We have seen that it collects the deoxygenated blood from the all parts of the body and brings to the heart. It is thin and elastic. It is superficial, near to the skin as compared to arteries. As I have told, arteries are deep-seated, but the veins are superficial. It is near to the skin. We can see the veins, that is green lines. Okay. Valves are present in the this one. Valves are present in the veins, ensure that the blood flows only towards the heart. Okay. Valves Valves are such substances or materials present inside the or inner lining of the veins which ensure that the blood flows only towards the heart. Okay. Blood. Blood is a connective tissue which is fluid in nature. It is liquid, we all know. The solid components of blood are RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles. It carries oxygen and carbon dioxide and also contains hemoglobin which impacts red color to the blood. Okay, due to the presence of hemoglobin, blood is red in color. WBCs, white blood corpuscles. It provides body defense by engulfing the germs and produces antibodies. Okay, recently we have passed through the COVID-19 virus. In the COVID-19 we have heard that our antibodies should be present to fight with the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. How to? Our immune system should be strong, or our immune system should be made strong by consuming such applicable foods, that is that is keeping the antibodies ready to fight with those viruses or with those unknown viruses. It provides body defense by engulfing the germs and produces antibodies. Blood platelets. During an injury, it helps in forming clots to stop bleeding. We have seen after a hard hit in our body parts, blood clots, a dark type thing appears in your skin. That is, the blood got clotted. Why is that so? If isn't that the bloods came out. Okay. During an injury, it helps in forming clots to stop bleeding. In liquid components, it is a yellow color fluid which contains 90% of water and 10% organic substances. Lymph. It is a fluid which escapes from the blood capillaries into the intercellular spaces. It contains less proteins. It flows from tissues to the heart, which helps in transportation and destroying germs. Note this one. Transportation in plants. Xylem transports, as we have seen in the diagram of the leaves, xylem and phloem. So here we are going to learn what are these functions of those xylem and phloem. Xylem transports water and minerals in plant body, only move upwards from downwards. Phloem transports food in plant's body. As xylem transports only water and minerals in plant's body, phloem transports food in plant's body. And it can move anywhere, not only like xylem, it will move only towards upward from the down. Transportation of water. It is done in two ways. Transpiration, that is loss of water from plants, is called transpiration, and the root pressure, active absorption of ions and absorption of water, endosmosis of water. The process is known as endosmosis. Excretion and plants. Excretion in animals and plants. The biological process of removal of harmful nitrogenous waste from the body is called excretion. Waste from cells are thrown away in the form as nitrogenous waste. As I have told previously, the biological process by which those harmful substances excreted or removed from our body is known as excretion. Okay, you have to notice one thing. Our left side kidney is little smaller than the right side kidney. Okay, and also the left side kidney is presented little upwards than the or little raised up from the right side kidney. In the urinary bladder, here it is present in the lower side. The water gets stored in it, and through the urethra, where it is, and through the urethra our urine passes. Excretion in plants, water transportation, oxygen photosynthesis, dead cells, dry leaves fell off, and waste products, cellular vacuoles. Water transportation. In the previous slide, we have learned that water transportation, oxygen photosynthesis, and dead cells, dry leaves fall off. Some waste also transported into the leaves. In the result, the leaves get dead. Actually, the cells got dead, and we also call that leaf got dead, leaf got dried. So after that the process, the dry leaves fall off. Waste products and cellular vacuoles. Other waste products are stored as resins and gums. Plants also excrete some waste products in the soil around them. Other waste products are stored as resins and gum in the plant body. Waste is also stored in two types, that are resins and gums. Plants also excrete some waste products in soil around them. We also know that where the plant is present, that is, it also excrete in the soil around them. Okay, I hope this chapter is clear to you. Please let me know if you have any problem still remaining in your mind. please let me know those problems. Please inform me in the comment section. I will wait for your reply, and if you say, I can also uh, make separate video on a particular part on which you guys have problem. I will surely try my best to cover those parts and make the portion clear to you again and again and again. So I think there is nothing left in the of this chapter. Thank you everyone for staying. Thank you for seeing this full video, supporting me. I hope day by day I will also improve myself more and more and more to satisfy your needs. Thank you once again. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe my channel to get all the future uploaded videos on the basis of class 10 CBSE board syllabus. Thank you. Bye bye.